I never know if it's ready. It's got a little wheel turning, so I always wait till that's over. I don't actually because I'm talking right now, but it says now that I'm live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Michael Bunker here. Um, if you are out there, let me know. Type in the comment section and say hi and howdy and and whatnot. I'm doing this on my laptop. I'm doing it on Facebook, and I'm doing it. Hey, Terry, good to see you. And I'm doing it with their new setup, so I don't see you unless you actually type something in. Used to be, you could see when people popped in and there was this and that and whatnot, little smiley faces and stuff. But now it's just like if they don't type, they're trying to be like YouTube, and my chair is really, really loud. So a lot of stuff going on, and I'm actually expecting an email to come in like any minute. That is, we're doing a little email. I got an email blast going out. Those of you who are on my email list, you haven't heard from me in a long time. So I'm going to be sending out an email blast. And we just got an all new email service on my blog. And Rob McClellan, who's my web guy, is handling all that. I'm getting a little glitch on the. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. A little glitch on the screen. Let me make sure that my battery's. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So, anyways, if you're out there, hello, Nancy. Say hi. This is not on YouTube, so all you got to do is just chat like you would normally chat. If you got questions and comments, put them in there, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, I'm waiting on this email. So if that email comes in, I'll handle it while we're on here. We got an all new email system, and so I have not been sending out emails and everything else going on with the coronas and everything else going on. It's been difficult to like get myself into the place of like trying to inform people other than I'm here every day talking on video. I did get a shower today, and so but it's 83 degrees, and as y'all know, we don't have no air conditioning or any of that stuff, so it is toasty right now. I'm a little bit sweaty even though I got a shower, washed my hair. Isn't this ridiculous? Just ridiculous. All right, like I said, if you're out there, say hi. I got people commenting on my post from today, but they're not in here on the video chat. So yesterday I went to town, and before any of the stay the edgy home people run their mouths, I'm a poor person, and so I'm not like you. I can't just stay at home and have Amazon bring me prime rib. Hello, Mike. And so when I do get money, and sometimes when people even donate, it takes 6 days or so for me to get the money. When the money actually shows up in my account, then I can go get stuff. And so if it comes in through Facebook Messenger, I can get it immediately. But so, anyways, I mentioned, I think it was in yesterday's video on YouTube, that that whole, and I understand everybody needs to stay home as much as possible, but there's a whole lot of BS going on, and New York Times and some of those other idiots, they're running these articles that twist statistics to make it look like Southern people and rural people are just running around like there's no coronavirus or anything like that. And of course, their methodology was so poor. Hello, Chris. Okay, in the Brooklyn, in the BK. All right, we got Michigan in the house. We got Forbes in there barking like a panda. The pandas bark because if they do, that's what he does. He just barks like a panda. Um, so, anyways, what was I saying before I started saying hi to everybody? I forget things, man. Draw a clock. So, anyway, so they're like, everybody should just stay home. And of course, rich people are the ones saying that. Rich people and privileged people, a lot of Hollywood people and whatnot, or like Forbes, whose wife's paying all his bills and all he does is sit around all day eating Cheetos, rubbing them on the sofa anyway. So those people, hello, Frank from down the road. Hello, Shemaine. So anyways, the rest of us, I don't have to go to town. That's one thing that's true. That's not true of other people. I'm a little bit privileged. I don't have to go to town, but I also have a farm. And if I need something, I go and get it. Things have changed a little bit in town. They really haven't changed at the grocery store, but so I went to this hardware store. There's a couple of them in town, and one of them you couldn't go in. You parked, and they came out to the car, and you tell them what you want. So I needed to get kerosene, which is probably something most of you don't ever buy. Some of you might, but kerosene is what we use to run kerosene lanterns. And if you follow the bunker principle, we have three or more ways to produce light. By the way, yesterday I made this lard lamp, and it burned for a long, long time. And I finally blew it out, and I was going to light it if I have a lighter here. I don't right with me, so maybe in a minute I'll get a lighter and we'll light that thing up. I'm going to do a video on making the lard lamps because even those people like Forbes who are sitting at home while his mom, his sister, his his sister wife makes all the money. He does eat bacon, and so you can actually use bacon fat for the lard lamps if you just don't have power and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a video on making the lard lamps, but that's not really what we're talking about today. And so went to the one hardware store and I got kerosene. Um, I don't want to slander anybody because it's just a suspicion, and it's been a while because I get a 5 gallon can of kerosene, and all we really use that for is lanterns. So they last a really long time, and it's good to have one of those put away if you've got oil lanterns, which you probably should have in your house. But I'm pretty sure last time I went and got it, which was probably fall, a 5 gallon can was $39.95, and they charged me $49.95 yesterday. So that's a 20% increase. Maybe the 20% that was for them to bring it to the car. So there was that. I went to the other hardware store and I had to get some more chain because my stupid pigs keep getting out, and they, you don't eat bacon. I know for a fact that you do. I'm pretty sure I sat in a diner with you at Seal Beach. So, anyways, I, so I went in the other hardware store. I had to get some chain because my pigs keep fences and tearing up the gates and whatnot. So I had to go get some more chain, and then walk in there, and there it's like days of old, man. But I checked in there because, and this is one of the things I wanted to bring up. Just because one place doesn't have something or something that you might be interested in doesn't mean that all the stores are out of it. I see a lot of that going on. So I had put a post up about these ladies that were making the mask out of the blue shop towels, which are supposed to be really, really, really good. They ran a lot of scientific tests on these blue shop towels, and they work really, really well. And so that what they're advising people to do is to take the blue shop towel material and put it on the inside of your homemade or your cotton mask. And so I just thought, I wonder if there's going to be a run on the blue shop towels. So I went to the first place where I got the kerosene and I said, "Can I get some blue shop towels?" And they said, "No, we ran out." So I thought, "Oh, here we go. Blue shop towels are the new toilet paper." And there's a glitch on this thing, and that is this is their new setup for Facebook Live. And so they have the comments here on the left-hand side of my left-hand side of the screen. But that's where your alerts, like if somebody's on one of my other posts, they don't even know I'm live, and there's somebody constantly chirping at me. Those pop up over here, and it's blocking what I can see what people are saying. Um, so I was thinking, oh great, this is going to be the next toilet paper is the blue shop towels. So I went to the second hardware store, and they didn't have any blue shop towels, but they had white shop towels. So I didn't know if those were the same or not. I bought some anyway because they were available and they were cheap. It was like $2. I don't know what Kessler is, man. I know who Kepler is. Kessler is like the isn't that the Star Trek thing where they went on the Kessler drive, the Kessler run? so many parsecs on the Kessler run. Is that what you're talking about? And so then, hello, Pat. Then I went over to the grocery store to see what they had because I like to check in on things, right? See what's going on, see how things change. So I went in there and they had there's tons of stuff in the store. There's tons of stuff. Still no toilet paper. While I was there, I was watching kind of. There was a lot of older couples, and they were buying stuff that they would let you buy a lot of. So like tin cans of tomato sauce, things like that. Um, so I was coming out of the grocery store, and right across from the grocery store is a hardware store, or not a hardware store, a automotive parts, auto parts, like Advanced Auto Parts or something like that. I don't know what the brand name is. Hello, Scott. And in the window, they had a stack pyramid of blue shop towels with hand sanitizer on each one. They were stocked up. So I guess nobody even looks over there. I I never look over there unless I'm looking for auto parts. I just happened to look over there and they had a pyramid of shop towels. Boom. And so it's just stuff like that happens. People don't think about it, or they don't think about different ways or different things to acquire. We are still not on lockdown here, and it would be very, very difficult to see. Everybody here lives far, far away, and that was one of the things that New York Times thing was bullcrap about. Was pardon my French. Um, they used cell phone tracking to see if people were more active or less active than they used to be. And of course, the people in their little bubbles have no idea. When you live in a one square block area in New York City and you think, hey, if you go 5 blocks, that's like traveling. I have to go, man, my hair is just horrible. I have to go 6 miles is the closest place I can get gas. 12 miles is the closest real grocery store. In fact, our grocery store in Santa Ana closed down. And to get to a Walmart, it's 24 miles. And so if you go in there and they're not letting you buy but one of something, like one thing of meat, you got a family of 5 or 6, you're going to have to go to town twice a day, or do like me, just don't go to town and just set all your traps. So it's kind of, that's the thing that's going on. And it's so during my trip, I was in close proximity to nobody. Yeah, no toilet paper or I've seen hand soap in a few places, just a few places, but no toilet paper. But so I was in proximity to nobody. Um, Even standing in line at the grocery store, everybody was 6 feet apart. Everybody was kind of, and they put a sneeze guard between you and the cashier. I mean, you hand the money to them still, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But it's like, so if you're living in and there was a guy on Twitter that really analyzed this that did great. But if you're living in a high rise or in the apartments that Forbes lives in Long Beach, and there's 400 people living in a quarter of an acre, and you think that you're quarantining, but you're going up and down the elevator because they got a restaurant downstairs or they got a grocery store downstairs, and you're all using the same elevator, and that stuff stays airborne for 30 minutes. You probably had mouth contact with 100 people in a day, even though you're quarantined and you're one of the righteous ones who's not getting out and about. Whereas I got in my car out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I drove 12 miles. I went to one store, didn't even get out of the car. That guy was wearing gloves and had hand sanitizer and all that. Put the kerosene in the back seat. I didn't touch it or anything until I got home. Went to the second store, didn't come within 6 feet of anybody. Um, and then got to the grocery store and didn't come within 6 feet of anybody at all. So, I mean, all I'm saying is there's a lot of the rules are just really not very well thought out, but there's this attempt right now to lay this narrative. And I'm not going to mention his names, but there's a piece of garbage author who got, momentarily famous back in like 2011, whose entire value as a human being is less than one of the pigs up here, who is trying to make this huge political thing. Everybody's trying to make it a political thing, but he's trying to make it this big political thing about one particular party is going to kill us all because they're all running around going to the store. When you're a millionaire, it sure is easy. It is easy to, and I have a very special insight into this, and that is I'm poor. I live from uh, dollar to dollar. I don't have any money. I think right now in my account I have $6. When we get money, we do go to town and we get, if I need to get pig feed, medicine, whatever we get, right? Um, at the same time, I'm privileged because I don't need to do that. My lifestyle has allowed me to not have to do that stuff. I don't have to do it. So I can sit back. I could sit back and be one of the pious, righteous ones who's looking down on the rest of the world going, oh, stay the edgy home, you riffraff out there running around trying to feed your children. I could be one of the guys going, well, I had a ophthalmologist appointment because I have cataracts, and so I had to be out. But all these people, the low people, were out there traveling around, touching everything. So this wasn't really what my rant was going to be, but this is what it's turned into. I got stuff popping in all the time. Hey, I got to check my email real quick because I told you at the very beginning I'm expecting an email that's business oriented. Hopefully, you guys are going to get an email from me maybe tonight, and I haven't sent out one in a long time, but we just totally redid. We're redoing the whole, basically the website. We're redoing my email list. We're redoing all. If you're not on my email list, go to michaelbunker.com and sign up for my email list. It'll say newsletter, or you just type in michaelbunker.com/newsletter and sign up for my newsletter. You get free stuff, and sometimes you get cool information nobody else gets. Hello, Keith. Hey, everybody! If you're out there and you haven't said hello yet, just type in something there in the comment section. We're on Facebook Live. This is not on YouTube today because I owe a lot to my Facebook peeps, and I've been doing everything on YouTube, and I am moving everything to YouTube because that's where I'm trying to build a monetized channel. So Aaron said, biggest thing I've noticed is Costco still sold out of ground beef. I just got it was funny, our little local grocery, which is a great grocery store. For years, they've sent out these circulars. We get them on Monday or Tuesday, and then the sale always starts on Wednesday. And usually they got everything in there, and there's good sales. I mean, they have good sales. They buy stuff in bulk, and so usually like the little items are like that big, and they'll have like 4,000 of them on one page. Not that many, but there are 50 something items on one page, and you got to study it all, right? So it's the same amount of pages, but there's like 4 items on a page. They're literally the individual things that are on sale are like that big. One of them is ground beef, $4.99 a pound. Yeah, $4.99 a pound. If I go in, I will pick some of that up. You got to buy the 10-pound log, and we don't have refrigeration, so I would can it up, and then we have it, and we mix it with eggs in the morning and whatnot. Hello, Donna. If you guys are out there, say hi. If you got a question or a comment, just whatever you want to talk about. If you want to report what's going on where you are, if you want to report what's available at the stores, what's not available at the stores, if you want to ask me a question, you have somebody here who has lived this way for a decade and a half, and all you got to do is ask. And I'm thirsty, and I got a shower today, which was great. It's hot. It is still in the 80s. When I wake up in 6 or 7 hours from now, it may be 8. Whatever time 3:30 in the morning is, it's going to be 64, 65 degrees. I refill these with rainwater. So Get off my case, you one-use plastic. You notice how all those people kind of went away? You notice all those people, they're agenda people, that were like just watch stuff and get mad. All those people kind of went away. The people like uh, constitutional monarchy. Yeah, we'll have to talk about this. This is maybe not a good time. Maybe it's a great time. I have no idea. Um, anyways, these people would watch the videos and they would like single-use plastic. You're killing the turtles. Or they see something in the background back here, and they would be like, "That's hurting the environment." Uh, all those people kind of went away. Maybe that's not true. I like to always check the methodology of my assumptions. I muted like 150 people almost a month ago for 30 days, and they're all going to be starting to come off of mute here pretty quick. But pretty much anybody that was saying hoarding or that was making fun of people buying toilet paper, I just muted them. They're already, I'm not going to say all of them because some of them might be very smart, but they're already, for the most part, were the dumb people or brainwashed people who are going to lick whatever the government spilled out or whatever the media would. The people that sit there in front of the TV 24/7 going, "That's right. That's right, Fox News. That's right. CNN, you're right." Um, Donna went out for the first time in a month. Well, you're doing good. You're doing good. What did you get? What did you go out for? What did you get, and was it worth it? So those people, I just muted them, and I haven't lost anything from muting them. There's a few people that were making dumb jokes who I kind of let them slide because they have some value. Every once in a while, they'll post something that's not completely ridiculous. And this chair is loud, but when I lean forward, I feel more serious. I reuse my plastic bottles too. I buy one of these about every month, and it's bubbly water. We call it angry water with lemon, and it's delicious. And then I drink it, and then I use that as my workout bottle for weeks or month or whatever it is. I clean it out, I soap it out, I do all that. But we catch rainwater in our cistern, and then we run it through the Berkey, and it's just pure water. That's all it is. During my workout days, I try to drink 3 of these. These are 33.8 ounces. So that's around 100 ounces. All right, y'all. Let's get some questions in here. Let's get some comments. Let's get some topics. Let's get serious. Let's talk about things we want to talk about. Let's discuss and chat. Man, I look like Christopher Walken. People, Lions was a disappointing trip. I'm sorry. I've had a couple of those. Oh, I got the Lard too. I posted a picture of the Lard. In fact, I think that may have been all I got. Using kerosene in your lantern, do you have any idea how long it can be stored? As far as I know, it does not denature or any of that stuff like gasoline does. In fact, I think kerosene may be something that you can use to keep other things from going bad. So I don't think that it goes bad. I've had kerosene for years and years and years and years, and I've never had a problem with it. Um, so I'm not an expert on kerosene other than I've been using it for 20 years. But we buy the 5 gallon. Now we used to. You can buy it in bulk, and there's places that sell. There's a place in Abilene that sells it, and you can go in there with a 30-gallon barrel or a 50-gallon barrel, and they'll fill it up for you, and it's pretty cheap. It's a lot cheaper than buying it by the 5 gallon, but I also got to drive 2 hours, an hour each way. There's a place in Brownwood used to sell it. It's like Frank, you'll know it's like PF and E or something like that. And I don't know if they just stopped carrying it or stopped selling it to the public or stopped selling it individually. I think we used to go in there with a truck and a couple of barrels, and we'd get barrels of it. But I don't know of anybody else locally that sells it, and I don't want to drive all the way to Abilene. So we go to Coleman, and they have it in the hardware store, and you can get it in 1 gallons, which is the ultra pure clear. I think they call it K1 or something like that. And then we get the 5 gallon. and they 5 gallon will last us through the whole. We don't use lanterns that much in the summer. Sometimes we use candles more in the summer, just because lanterns put off heat. But I wanted to make sure we had some, and so I went and got some. And I think it was the last can they had. I could be wrong. I grew up on a pretty simple dairy operation. This is Scott speaking. He said, I've forgotten more about self-sufficiency than most ever know. The problem is I've forgotten more than most people ever know. It comes back when I read and watch. So thanks for being a spark for that. Thank you. I'm not sure if that was a knock on me or not, but I appreciate the slap on the back at the end. I'm not sure if I'm the one that forgot more than I know, or forgot more than you know, or you forgot more than I know. Keep in mind that kerosene in a drum will draw humidity from the air. It's not really a problem where you live, but here it is. Yeah, that can definitely happen. And I think I could be wrong. You probably know. I think we use the plastic drums, and I think there's less of a problem with the plastic drums than there is with the metal drums. But what we would do when we started getting to the bottom of the drum and there was always water floating on it was we would pour it into a pitcher, a clear pitcher, and you can see the water at the top, and you can pour that off. And we used to do that all the time. We would also combine when we get down to the bottom of the lantern and there's that little bit of sludge and you weren't really getting much out of it. If you keep combining those, you get like a big jar, and all that sludge will go down, and you got maybe a quarter, half a gallon of kerosene, all kinds of stuff. We got our beer kits, sweet. Not sure we can remember how to make it without your help. There's tons of stuff on YouTube's. YouTube's is good for that, man. Back when I was showing you guys, we didn't have no YouTubes. But hey, speaking of beer kits, so I'm looking for some stuff for my 72-hour pack, my go bag, whatever video. And so I was up at the cottage and I was pulling stuff out from underneath the cabinet, and I found 2 complete beer kits. I mean, I can make beer out of whatever. I can make beer out of anything, but to have 2 complete, and one of them's a stout. Hey, so speaking of beer. Oh, okay. Thanks, Scott. I was just giving you a hard time, but the water settles to the bottom. Well, maybe that's what it was. Maybe the water would go to the bottom of the pitcher and we'd pour it off I know it separates and you can see the clear delineation between the water and the whatever. All right. So speaking of beer, if any of you people read The Last Pilgrims, you will discover that beer made in its original form, the ancient beer, grows a antibiotic in it that is one of the most powerful antibiotics known to man. And it was one of the reasons. There's a video out there. It's a documentary called "How Beer Saved the World." You should watch it. Greetings, Mike. And anyway, so I wrote that into the book, and I've done some experiments with that. And so a year ago, Jennifer and I made a batch of beer, and then we just let it sit, and it's been sitting for a whole year. And so this is going to get a little bit in depth. So what happens when you're making beer is you get that trube at the top, and you siphon, you re-rack it into another deal, and you throw that off, and then you end up bottling it and all that. Well, and I've done this before, when you let a beer sit for a year or more, you actually get yeast that has grown and gone dormant that floats to the top, and you get almost a crust of white yeast on the top. And the way they used to do this back in the 1800s was that they would scrape that off of there and they'd dry it. And then the ladies would come to town, and that's what they got, and that's what they made their bread out of. So then they would take the bread, and when they were making a batch of beer at home, they would float a piece of that bread in the beer, and it would rehydrate, and it would be the yeast for that batch. And so I'm going to do that, man. There's like a crust of solid yeast, like an inch thick, on top of this beer. And it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to bottle it this week. Keep saying that, but I'm actually going to do it. And then I'm going to take off that yeast and I'm going to make some bread. I can't eat a lot of bread because of my diet, but I'm going to eat that bread. I'll tell you this right now. You going to have any mesquite coffee this year? Oh, Lord, I hope. I'm watching the mesquites. They just now leafed out. So if you're from Central Texas, you know, or you should know, when the mesquites leaf out, that means generally no more freeze, and they're pretty much lime green now. They stay lime green for, what is it, Frank? A couple weeks, maybe a month, and then they turn into the regular green. And as long as they're lime green, they're really really good for you. I chew it when I'm walking around. And then the tassels get put out, and then we'll find out. You never know. Every year is different. We've had years where we had no mesquite pods at all. We've had a ton of rain this year, a ton. So I'm hoping we're going to have a banner year. Read Last Pilgrims in the Wick series. Excellent. Thank you. All right, y'all. I don't know how long I've been on here, but I guess I could find out. It's about 30 minutes, so we got time. But we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. I go off on things. People mention something, I think about beer, and I think about, I'm not really drinking right now, so I'm not drinking beer. But I'm going to make that beer, and I'm going to drink it because it's going to be healthy for me. And that's going to be some old school, ancient bread. So then I'm going to make some ancient bread, and then I'm going to do the whole thing where you cut that bread and you float it in the next batch. I'm thinking I'm going to do that for my stout. Yeah, baby. All right, I'm not getting any questions. I don't know if it's just delayed or what. I'm not seeing any comments or anything. Maybe everybody wants to call it quit early tonight. I'm here for you, though. I do this to help because it's past my bedtime. My bedtime's about 7:30. Usually I'm in bed by right now. Have you had consistent success making hard cider? No. And the reason why is because I don't, I've had a very difficult time growing fruit here. So I just don't make hard cider. I've thought about it before, but if I could get an apple tree to live more than 2 years, I would make cider, but I just had no success at it, so I don't make any. All right, everybody, what do you got going on? Let me, you guys talk about it for a second. I'm gonna get a lighter. I'm gonna light this little lard lamp if I can find it. All right, so this is the lard lamp. We used to mess around with these things back in 2000, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something like that. And so this is the lard lamp I made the other day, yesterday. And so it's got this handle for the wick. One of the problems, so I'm going to do a whole video on this. But one of the problems with using lard is an oil, but it congeals at room temperature. I mean, it's congealed. It's not a liquid. If it's a liquid, it's easy. You make the floating wicks and you just float the wick on there, and they're easy. Like olive oil lamps are easy. Sheltering in place near Lake Michigan. All right. So if you and I'll do one for an olive oil lamp too, but olive oil is very expensive. So unless you got a 50-gallon barrel of olive oil somewhere, I would not use olive oil. The people who were in this area, who moved out through Oklahoma and all that, the land rush times, there weren't a whole lot of trees, and so they used pigs for food, and they used the lard for lighting. Prior to pigs, it was whale blubber. So when they first founded America and all that, for the first 100 years or more, maybe 200 years, pretty much all of the colony used whale fat, whale blubber. And they didn't start using pig lard until they started moving westward and they couldn't get the whale blubber anymore. So they used pig lard. Pig lard stays soft. And so it's very difficult to work with. And so if it was tallow, like beef fat, it solidifies so you can just make a candle that will support its own weight and it will hold the wick up and it won't just all. So with a lard lamp, you have to have something to hold the wick up. And there's different ways to do this. The old Betty lamps were just a piece of, metal, basically, a dish. You could do it with a dish that had some little acrylinations or something on it where you could just lay a wicking down in it, and you would make sure the wick was saturated with the lard, and then you light it, and then as the heat would build up, it would melt the lard, then the lard would start wicking up. This is basically the same thing, and this is not the best wick. I got wick for small little votive candles, but I've got some other wick material. I just have to find it that is bigger, and you want bigger uh, 1/8 inch or you want 1/4 inch wick material, not this little votive stuff. So what this handle is for is when you blew this thing out, now you'd have to stick your hand down in that jar to try to light this thing again. You can't have it filled up because the wick would have to be really, really, really long. And it just, the best thing is to use like 1 inch. All right. So hold on just a minute. I have to check an email real quick. You can watch me work. All right. So anyway, so what you do is you make this heavy wire, and I'm going to show you this without, and it stands up about 1 inch. You want it to stand up just above your fat level, and then when you relight it, you pull your wick up so that your wick is standing up a little bit above this area here. Now I got lard on my hands, and then so that's pretty saturated. And we just light this thing. Maybe not be saturated. Okay, so now it's lit. And now I just drop this down and you push it down. Oh, I blew it out with my mouth. I'm going to do a whole video on this for my YouTube channel. And you push this down in there. All right. Let me get something to wipe my hands here with. All right, so now you got yourself a pretty bright little lamp. And this is the little teeny wicking, so it would be much brighter with a thicker. And you can use a cotton t-shirt. When I do the video, I'll show you this. You can use little squares. I get these little squares of t-shirt, and you can rip off a 1 inch strip of this, and you can spin it, and you can make it into a wick. It works great. If it's cotton, it just needs to be 100% cotton. So it leads me to another tip. See, if you watch this for long enough, you get the good tips. So I mentioned I went to the first hardware store. They didn't let you go inside, but they would come out to the car. Went to the second hardware store, and most hardware stores have bag-o rags, which you can get a bag of rags. They're basically t-shirts that have been torn up, cotton t-shirts. This is one of the first things I thought of when I was thinking of things people could do for toilet paper, because what you want basically are rags that can be cleaned and reused. But one of the things my wife did is she went to the thrift store, the free store, and she just got bags of t-shirts for free. But you can go to the thrift stores and you can get t-shirts for 50 cents, man. T-shirts got a lot of cloth on it. You wouldn't even begin to believe how much a piece of dyed cloth was worth before the Industrial Revolution. And the cloth was so valuable. That's why you had all these quilts, because everybody kept every piece of every shirt, everything was kept, and they cut it out and they made a quilt out of it, right? And then when the quilt started going old, they ripped it up and they made a rug out of it. But anyway, so you go into the hardware store and they'll have bag. People aren't thinking about this stuff. They don't think about this stuff at all. They have bag of rags, and I wish I had one down here. That's what this is. This is just a little bag of rags. Little sections of t-shirt, and you can use that for making your wicking. So here's the trick. You don't have to use store-bought lard. You can use any fat, really, but you can use bacon fat. So save your bacon grease during this whole crisis. Save your bacon grease, and then what you do is you heat up that bacon grease, and then you run it through one of these t-shirts. You filter it so you get rid of all the bacon bits and all that kind of stuff. And you do that a couple of times. You get a pretty pure fat. It's still going to smell bacony, not too much. But then, you make yourself your little holder. You get your jar, put in 1 inch of fat, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more. And you get this thing, and I'll show in the video how we do it. 4 or 5 of this in the room. And this, I lit this thing yesterday and ran it for hours, and I have not put any more fat in it. It is barely used any at all. I don't know how long this thing would last for days. So there's that. You got that, long pig? Yeah, there might come a time where you can get away with that. All right, everybody, if you got questions or comments, let's get them in. I got a definite hard cutoff time because I got to go to bed. I got to get up at 3:30 in the morning and do my miles. Do the fumes from the lard lamp bother the lungs at all? Not even a little bit. And that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about on the video. You do not want the wick real tall where you're putting off black smoke. But if you keep your wick managed, which is what this wire is for, I see a lot of people making lard lamps or stuff, or I've seen, and they're just like sticking the, like you can make it out of a stick of butter, and they're just sticking the wick down in there, and then those things smoke really, really bad. So I don't have any problems with lard at all. I used to have problems with the kerosene lanterns until we kind of figured out how to keep the wicks trimmed and keep them burning right so that they're not putting off that black smoke. All this stuff is free, but I did in the description there, even here on Facebook, I did put a link to the donation page if you got the time, if you got a few dollars, if you're anticipating a huge stimulus check, throw a few drachmas, a few kopecks, a few dinars my way, and then I'll be able to keep doing this stuff and make more videos and whatnot. I got a bunch of videos that I'm in the process of making, and I'm trying to do a live every day, although most of them are going to be on YouTube. So if you're not on my YouTube channel, please go sign up on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/bunkdad. And if you're watching this video later, do me the favor of sharing it and go to YouTube and subscribe and all that stuff, because that sure does help. All right, guys, I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'm going to call it quits. I got to go to bed. I'll see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. I'll make another video, and we'll talk about important stuff. And see, the people that came in that weren't anticipating anything, you got lots of good stuff. You got lots of good stuff off this video. All right, y'all. Talk to you soon. Love you. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow.